Hey guys, it's Dylan here with Hypnotic Cook. I want to do something a little different today, something I've been kind of wanting to do for a while. It might be added to the challenge series. It might be the first episode of the challenge series. So for a long time I've been wanting to get my kayak on Lake Chapman, probably my favorite bass fishing spot. I'd like to gauge depth, just kind of see what's under the water, because you're not really able to gauge that from fishing from the shore. Today's gonna be an exciting day. Get the kayak loaded up and then I'm gonna get headed on over to Chapman. So my goal today is to use at least 3 different types of lures that will catch summertime bass. My conviction's gonna start off strong with what I already know works, at least 2. The little Cleo and the crawdad bait. Those are gonna be the first 2 convictions, and then I got some other surprises in my toolbox. Been watching some pros and they've been using 30-pound braid to 10-pound mono or 10-pound floral. We'll let that sink. Go get me a drink out. Start the day off right. Ooh, fish on. Seemed like this one was real close to the side. First fish on. 4, 5, 6. Ouch. This is the 7th time before I could have got my hand in his mouth. First fish of the day on the little Cleo. That's what's up. It was a little one, but it was still a good fight. That's the first catch on the new braid to fluoro build. Seems like the wind has pushed us back into this far corner here. I really want to try to get down on the other side and float all the way back over here. Alright, there was the catch on the Cleo, so now I can change that. I'm going to use this crawdad a little bit more before I change this out. Just see how it goes. Looks like the fish finder's pointing out all kinds of little fish over here, so I think I'm going to come back up to the mouth of this and throw this crawdad a couple more times, but while I'm already here stopped, I might as well re-rig this other pole. That way I don't lose any time fishing to re-rig it floating. Alright, so I just paddled from one side all the way to the other. And it's kind of crazy because I just got out of where the wind was whipping the water pretty high. I mean, you could hear it slapping the kayak as I was coming over it, but all these houses around here kind of act as a windbreak. Man, that kind of, this in-between bite just kind of seemed like it took forever. Oh, that's a nice one. I tried a whole bunch of different things, and I don't know if it was just the area, but I finally came back on this main side here. We just had a pretty nice blow up right there on the whopper plopper. So that, maybe the whopper plopper just works all day. I've been trying different retrieval methods and that one seemed to work. I've just been throwing it and burning it in because it's kind of choppy out here. Oh man, that wind came from nowhere. GoPro, stop recording. I I just threw this rooster tail right down the same spot I just threw this plopper. So far we're 3 for 3. This might be a bigger one. He's kind of running around, so he maybe thinks he's going somewhere. Oh yeah, he's got a little fight to him. Oh, no way, it's a sunfish. Pretty decent sized sunfish. I will say this is number 3. So far the lure challenge is doing pretty good. The sun came back out, and I think the side that we were on wasn't the right side. Look at that. Pretty nice sized sunfish. Off you go. It didn't feel like a bass just for the simple fact that it wasn't fighting very hard. It did have some size to it. You could feel it as it was pulling through the water. We'll just throw this back out this way. I was actually inspecting a dead fish over here. It looked like it died of natural causes. There wasn't no foul hook marks in it or nothing. I don't know if I was paying attention enough to see it on my first go through, but I haven't caught enough for it to be me, so no one's been foul hooked by me. Oh man, I just had a bass hit that right beside us. I saw his head and then he disappeared. So I think this point right here where I first caught that first one is maybe where all the action is right now. I didn't do a full lap around here. I just kind of did a half lap and came to the far corner and came right back around this first side because this is the one I always fish anyways. Another one. Oh, he just spit it. That's okay. Out of all the lures I've tied on, they've been all moving baits and they've been all like blades or chaser baits. So it could be they don't want stuff off the bottom right now. It could be that the chase is on, but I'm going to go back up here and start down this little row again because it seemed to produce some great results. So I just went ahead and beached this. I tied on my last 2 convictions. Actually, I have a couple more, but this is the 4th and 5th. It's a crawdad bait. I don't really care what it catches. And then there's a little lizard up there. You can't see it. But the wind's whipping me real bad. This audio is probably going to be really bad. I ended up just pulling up over here. I'm going to eat me a nutritious lunch of donuts and star-kissed tuna. That right there, lunch of champions. It's noon right now. I just stopped and had my lunch. First thing we're going to throw is this little crawdad bait. Kind of showed it on the GoPro. Don't know if I did or not, but we just copped this weekend. There it is. God, I about tripped on a log behind me. Oh, just burn going through my fingers. Check that out. I don't really know what that can see, but right, so there's 4. I didn't think that this would actually work just because of how small the hooks are. I just picked this up. It's a trout bait. I just started, you can feel when it's hitting the bottom and then just start going real slow. Crawdads seem to do really well for bass all the year. I was just looking, this is definitely not a bait for bass because I caught 1 fish on it and one of the hooks has already bent outward. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of my video. I'm going to do a quick video recap for you guys, and then I got to go to work, so I got to make this quick. I had a couple of talking points I wanted to talk about. The most important part that I wanted to talk about was my kayak and how I'd been taking water. I've been on 3 or so outings, and the bottom of my kayak's been filling up with water. The kayak taking water is a pretty big deal. The worst part about the kayak filling up with water is whenever I go to take it out, it feels like there's somebody sitting in it. It's been like 50, 60 pounds extra weight. It feels like being almost a quarter of the way full. So I went on a float trip the weekend prior, and this was just my first outing, and then the couple of days following that. I didn't have the cover on the side of my GoPro when we went on the kayak trip, and it ended up flipping in the water. I dried it out and it worked for a while, but actually in the middle of this video it just gray screened, the light came on and it just stopped working. So it ended up getting water damage. I had to send it into GoPro, and they ended up just replacing it, so that's cool. This is the second time I've been out to Chapman with the kayak. The first time was super windy, so I ended up trying to fish the pond beside it. Didn't have any luck. It might be an overflow. I saw some fins, might have been some catfish, carp, I don't really know. But this is the second time, and it was also still very windy. And I was just like, well, I'm here, might as well just get after it. And we did. I would go where I put in, I'd start there, float all the way down, went all the way back, go all the way back. I did that 3 times before I was wore out by 1. So I just want to show you guys the baits that worked. I was really hoping that I would get 5, but I ended up getting 4. What more could you ask for? I'm just going to go ahead and start with the little Cleo. This is a 1/30th ounce spoon. These are called jigging spoons, just regular spoons. These are phenomenal for bass. I didn't really start using them until this year, and they seem to catch everything. Caught drum, caught trout, just caught bass with them, bluegill. They have just been a phenomenal bait. I highly recommend, 10 out of 10, recommend that bait to anybody. My number 2 in the video was this Whopper Plopper. It's a little torpedo bait that sits on top of the water, and this causes a lot of crazy vibration, drives the bass wild. There's a cool story that came along with this. The old guy at Bass Pro, I was sitting there talking to him, and I'm like, I need a Whopper Plopper, but I don't really know which one to get. And he was actually stocking the shelf right beside me. He pulled it out of the bag and never even touched the shelf. He's like, this is the best Whopper Plopper. He's like, you won't regret it. I have caught so many fish on this any time of day. It's just like a white little spook deal. The little torpedo action. It's getting pretty beat up from fish catching it, but it still works magnificently. It's a different type of rooster tail. I think it's just called a bullet, like inline spinner. They're not the same as rooster tails because it doesn't have the little fluff on it, but they still work pretty well. They cause a lot of commotion in the water. This spins around. These catch trout, these catch bass, these catch panfish, sunfish, crappie. So that's another good alternative. This one works pretty well any time I've ever used it. And the last 2 are crawdad variants. This one is a micro one. This is actually for trout. I ended up picking it up on my float trip. It's got a spoon, and it's got this little divot right here that water goes through, and this thing moves like crazy. It's got a little rattle, but it's definitely undersized for what I was trying to fish with it, and the first fish I caught with it ended up bending the hook out pretty bad, so I didn't keep using it. My other favorite variant of a crawdad I actually have rigged up on the pole you've seen me use. I love this thing. These things go to war and back with me. It's called a Bomber F4. I think it's made by Ozark Trail. They're like $2. Great bait. I've bought 3 or 4 of them now. They just work phenomenally every time. This is usually my go-to. It's a little bit bigger in size. It's got a rattle in it, and it's got the spoon that it dives down in the water. Imitates a fleeing crawdad, and it's worked all season. So those are the 3 baits that catch bass and 2 bonus ones. So again, thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. You can tell me what you like using for bass. Summer bass, fall bass. We're getting ready to come up on fall bass season. I'm still going to be out there fishing. So if you guys got any recommendations, you got things you want to see on the channel, just go ahead and drop them down in the comments below. That's all I have for you guys. So be sure to be looking out for the next video. And remember, fish after me. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a huge bass. Oh. Holy freaking God. Oh my God.